Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Andy. As always, I've got the brother with me, Dale. How we doing?
The brother, we're related now. I guess we're almost like through what is it? Through the space and the workspace of the internet, you and I are like common law marriage now. So
Yeah.
congratulations. So
Cheers, pal.
yes. Toast to all those we've lost. So the end of January has come upon us, and we finished the Royal Rumble from the current year, which was nicely done. Not to get into it, but it's done very nicely. So we are currently on the road to WrestleMania. For us to be on our road to WrestleMania, we have to finish our January section of Royal Rumbles. And which one do we pick out for this week, Andy?
We had one of my favourites, Royal Rumble 1999.
You know, looking at this, and I think we said it for Over the Edge of later on this year of 1999. This is basically WrestleMania 2000 from the video game. If you look at everybody in there, it's just the whole roster, my friend.
Yeah. Well, it was a really, really good one, and then there was some awkward bits in this as well, and I was kind of like, ugh, do you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to going through it. First match on the card made me sad when I seen Big Ray coming out. I always get sad when I see Big Ray.
It's a different incarnation, or I guess incarnation of the Big Boss Man with the flak jacket and all. Not sure if he lost weight to be here, maybe, or maybe it was just protected more so.
I think he was bigger than his Hogan. He was less big than his Hogan run, but I still think he was quite big here.
Yeah. I mean, he's still a mountain of a man too.
Yeah.
Him coming out and facing the Road Dogg. Road Dogg gets enters out first. First off, that's a terrible way for us to introduce this pay-per-view. Because I think going right into the match, I'd like to actually start with saying this is the biggest debut of the No Chance in Hell theme song.
Yeah.
And this was the underlying tone of the whole Royal Rumble here, going into January 24th, 1990 in Anaheim, California. Basically a sold-out crowd, 14,816 in there. No Chance in Hell. Puppets won't find their place in line.
This is brilliant, mate. Even the little bits here, I love the... just before we go into the match, I love the Shane McMahon kind of pumping up his dad before he goes out there.
He's making his dad chase chickens.
Yeah.
Very Rocky-esque there.
Yeah, but I also think there's a little bit there of where the two of them kind of, like, when they kind of go between the two of them, yeah, it's like there's little inside jokes there, like where Shane says, "Do you want me to slap you?" You like that, don't you?
And 25 years later, we might find out a little bit more about what Vince McMahon is into as well.
Well, we'll go to our first match. We've got Big Boss Man versus Road Dogg. I am very offended by this match. Well, not by the match itself. The match was solid. It was a good opener. It was what it was. The only thing I was offended by is if you've got a hardcore title there, why not just use it?
Even Michael Cole even reiterated the fact that why is this even a regular match? I guess in a hardcore match, Road Dogg would have won, but instead it was just a regular match, so Big Boss Man would have won. We're not going to sit here and talk about creative genius in this match. It is what it is. This is kind of going into the corporation versus, I guess you could say, DX.
Yeah.
The corporation is full-fledged. It's consisting of Test, Ken Shamrock, Big Boss Man, The Rock at this point. I believe Kane, kind of. We'll get into that later on.
Yeah, Corporate Kane.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
The first incarnation of him.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yes, because Best for Business Kane would be about 15 years after this.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't really fly too well. But we'll get into Kane later on about it. So Big Boss Man scores a pinfall for the corporation with Boss Man Slam. Like you said, it is what it is. This is a Royal Rumble opener. They get better within the years.
Yeah, they do. They get better. And to be fair, it's even like nowadays, the opening matches on a card are normally really hot, aren't they? Which I really like nowadays that they do that. I think it's something that's evolved over time, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of like last night. They opened up with the men's Royal Rumble, which it's okay. It's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that, especially when you have a storyline with what
No, and that's
one of
where
the
I've
guys.
always liked Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns' mantra of I'm either opening or I'm closing.
I'd rather them open anyway. But when you have the whole bloodline situation going the way it is, which is probably some of the best television out there for, let alone wrestling, you can have that as the final match because there's something that people are emotionally invested in too. Are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
really emotionally invested in Reigns and Lesnar? No.
yeah. No,
Okay, Reigns or Lashley last year? I'm sorry, Lashley or Lesnar last year?
no.
I mean, we're just like, all right, let's see these guys go, and might get a little bit of that again, but well, that's for another
Yeah,
show.
and you can have stuff like that. That's fine. You know what I mean? As long as you've got this good stuff alongside it, then it's fine to fill it with something like that. But yeah, Big Boss Man gets defeated by Road Dogg. Sorry, he defeats Road Dogg. And yeah, solid little match. Nothing special, but really. Now we
Ooh,
move on to next match. We've got Ken Shamrock versus Billy Gunn. Why do you think Billy Gunn never got accepted as a single star?
it's an enigma to me because if you look at him and he could, not that he was the most fantastic talker, but he could still captivate. I'm not going to take into account what he's doing now in AEW. I think it's
Mm,
garbage. I don't. I
yeah,
don't think it makes no sense unless he does turn heel again. But that's not captivating television for me.
no,
But anyway, looking at that, I think that he just was lumped together with groups all the time. And when he tried to be a solo star, even in 2001, when he came back as the one Billy Gunn, it didn't really
yeah.
work out. And
No, but he always hit gold when he was in a tag team.
wonder what his net worth is.
Mm, crazy, isn't it?
A guy like that, he looks like somebody that would make sound financial investments.
Mm,
And he
probably
would
does
let,
a lot,
well,
of
he would let,
tests.
yeah, but he would probably let Road Dogg do a lot of, buy a lot of the drugs too. Or Road Dogg had the
Mm.
connections too.
Yeah. Well, this match was a solid match. Ken Shamrock here was pretty cool. Do you know what I mean? He's doing this whole crazy gimmick and whatnot. World's most dangerous man. But the actual match was quite good. Ken Shamrock goes over in the end with a submission victory. But you know, I think this was Billy Gunn's first ever shot at a singles title, and you know, it just always got me thinking as they tried to push him a few times, didn't they? And it just never worked.
I think the rockabilly thing was supposed to be that way. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God.
Apologies.
Sorry. John Tetnick just came in there. Anyway, oh, we might see him later. Um, this was a very good match when you think about it. Shamrock does what he does. He's gonna go for that UFC background of I'm going to aim for a certain spot. I will manipulate the joints and I will make sure that I will hurt it. Gunn sells this leg even going into the Royal Rumble afterwards, and then an ankle lock. Shamrock sees the time when Billy Gunn collapses because he can't walk anymore.
Yeah,
Shamrock looks around and says, "All right, time to go." One thing that we forgot about in this, there's this little weird thing going on where Ryan Shamrock is who Ken Shamrock was dating at the time in real life. And
yeah,
Ryan's in the front row, and that's his sister. And he's getting jealous at other people paying her attention.
yeah,
People such as Val Venus, who interferes in the match and gives Shamrock a DDT, but still he ends up surviving and pinning Billy Gunn. This should have been the opener.
yeah,
This should
yeah.
have been
I
the
agree.
opener.
I agree.
And then you go into a hardcore match with Boss Man and Road Dogg.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that. So
Um,
it's
I think also there was one of the dark matches, Christian versus Jeff Hardy, potentially could have been bumped to the main card there and took Road Dogg and Bossman off it altogether.
Christian was brand freaking new at that point too.
Yeah.
And I think in a few months we'll see him at the top of a cage trying to hang Boss Man, but I don't think anybody really wants to discuss
No,
that, do they?
no, no. Well, the
Um,
next on the card, we had the leader of the Brood, Gangrel versus X-Pac. Why? Who do you find the most synonymous with the European title?
X Pac.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I feel like Regal too.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, if you're talking about like pre 2000, Before the
Yeah.
millennium, yeah, X-Pac, definitely.
Definitely.
I would think that. So it was nice to see Gangrel, who's just solid and helps. I'm surprised he didn't rack up more wins as a singles competitor.
Yeah.
So I got to shout out to the crowd here. This crowd had me dying. Okay, you'll see it later on in the Royal Rumble. Pay attention. I know some people actually watch the pay-per-views after we review them, and I thank you guys for that. If you're paying attention to the crowd, you'll see when Gangrel comes out with the I wish I could do that more and more. They're bopping around the whole time. This is like one type of new metal concert going on, and the crowd loves it. X-Pac comes out. Yeah.
Oh, I hated this too. I hated that, you know.
I hate when they do dubbed over like entrances.
Yeah.
Like, remember Hardcore Holly with the "How do you like me now"? Oh, maybe a couple people could survive that. I hate sound bites on entrances. It's so stupid. Like the Rocks, you could kind of get away with, right?
Yeah. The Jake the Snake Roberts. Trust me, trust me. I hated it.
But it's like, I'm surprised at one point they didn't start off with "what?" and then Austin came out. Although What a Rush was good.
Yeah, fair dues. There was a couple of belters, wasn't there? But a lot of them wasn't very good at all.
No. But this was a pretty good match. I mean, there was a little fuck up by Teddy Long as the referee. Yeah, it was like a pin that Gangrel had that he counted to 3, but then it was a kick out.
Yes.
Gangrel was. I was just like, "Oh, this did not look good."
Yeah.
And the fact that they actually showed a replay of that was really awkward because it's like you got to stay away from that because there's some chicanery there that even Gangrel could come out on Raw and cut a promo. Oh wait, they tried that promo. Do you remember that promo with the Brood? It's actually ranked. It's ranked one of the worst promos ever, where Gangrel, Edge, and Christian all are in the ring and they cut a promo. And Christian doesn't even. It was one of the worst promos ever. It's like you'd rather see Khali recite Shakespeare.
I still think it's one of the funniest things ever when Vince McMahon wanted to do a gimmick where he blurred Christian's face out.
That'd be so funny. I think last week we talked about No Face with Dick Tracy. That would have been Christian's character.
God.
Not a bad match, though. Not a bad match, though.
No, it's something that you'd expect from these two, both solid workers as well as solid gimmicks here. And, you know, you don't mind that type of thing, do you?
I think that. So I listened to the, what is it, Fang Banging podcast that Gangrel does. And somebody actually asked him who was originally supposed to be in the Brood if it wasn't Christian. You ready for this one?
Go on.
Dr. Luther.
Oh, no.
And Christopher Daniels.
Oh, well. How glad am I that it never went that way?
Christopher Daniels in WWE. I mean, it's almost like they almost had him on so many different occasions.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the chosen one, right? And then it's me, Austin. And then Jim Ross. Oh, son of a bitch.
Jim Ross always reminds me of something out of South Park.
You ever see the video with Jim Ross and how much he hates Triple H? That piece of garbage. That damn Hunter.
He's just go to hell. Go to hell. Oh, I love him. He is a cool dude.
You know what? Good calls, right? And there was a lot yesterday, and I just love the fact that it was just these off-the-cuff remarks on wrestlers, like Dewdrop yesterday.
Piper Niven.
Yeah, thank God she came back. But what a hilarious piece of announcing yesterday.
Yeah.
Who were your favorite? Okay, who's your current day favorite team as far as wrestling goes?
McAfee and Cole.
Yeah,
110%. There's no better. And Pat McAfee yesterday was outstanding, by the way. It was awesome to have him back, but it also shows what kind of sway he has. Did you see where he turned around and went, "What is a Mountain Dew dark match and why do I need to watch it?" Oh, let me see if I can find it.
Oh, so
Oh,
funny.
oh, so funny.
It's me, Austin. Somebody just told me to quiet down back there. They're
Oh
laughing.
dear.
That's all right. Look, we do this all my neighbors love me, I'm sure. Who was I doing last week? Oh,
Uh,
without doing the death of the road. Yeah. Hard times, brother.
oh God, it's so funny.
So anyway, yeah, we're getting into it. We're getting really goofy, aren't we? I'd like to point out that Shane McMahon comes out in a long jacket and a turtleneck sweatshirt.
Mm.
So very 1998 structure catalog esque.
Mm.
And he ends up bringing out Luna Vachon for her strap match against Sable.
Yeah.
Do you remember a build at all for this?
No, I don't think I remember the bill for most Sable stuff until she was with McMahon.
You're right. You're right.
Once she got
I
with
think
Vinnie
if
Mac, she
anything,
got on a bit then, didn't she?
yeah, and it was like they inserted her into like just these storylines and just to try to make her relevant. And if anybody, Mark Marrow made her relevant by just hating on her.
I just don't like her. I hated her. Hated her.
Well, here's my whole thing. Marrow had a contract that said you have to do what I say because it's in my contract. Why doesn't he just tell her to stay home?
I don't know.
He would have done us all a favor. Were you okay as a kid looking at Sable? Were you just like, oh my god, I need to see more of her?
No, never. Apart from the Bra Panties matches, maybe when I was a 16-year-old hormone raging little dude.
I guess so, but I just wasn't like there was other people that were more attractive there. Like I thought Ryan Shamrock was hot on
Yeah.
there. You know, she was more natural looking. Terry,
Yeah, I just
who
the
we
whole
see,
thing. I just looked at it and I was like, "Oh yeah, Teddy when she come out, Jesus."
come on, she looked great. I don't know. I think that like they just really just said, hey, you know what, this chick's hot. We're just gonna have her do whatever,
Well,
and
that's
that's your
exactly what it was.
and that's
And
Vince Russo. That's all Russo, man.
I know the whole thing is though. I used to feel really like gutted for like the likes of Luna. You could see her put her thing in for years, and it was like she had to go out there and put it over. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous. She
Yeah.
deserves so much better. We've done past pay-per-views of like earlier years with her involved, and we loved everything she's been involved in. And then she'll even say, even watching the Dark Side of the Ring, she's even like, she told everybody, she's like, why am I set aside here? And she had fights with people backstage. I don't blame her.
No, no. I don't blame her at the end of the day. She's disrespectful, mate. It was even the way they put it into the alumni section of the Hall of Fame was just ridiculous in my eyes.
Stupid.
But
Stupid.
The Bellas go into the main one.
What contributions did they have other than reality TV?
Well, that's
The
exactly
Bellas.
why they went in there, wasn't it? Because they got a lot of hashtags over the career.
You know, and I wrote into K100 and they said, you know, well, look, you know, as far as bringing in new viewership, they did that because
Hmm.
husbands would have their wives watch them and then they would watch the program. I get that. It's great. You're advertising. That's fine. But Conan chimed in. He says there's nothing special about them.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
talent, wrestling wise, there was nothing special about them. Hey, remember that time that Cena proposed to one of them and then that didn't happen at
Yeah. Yeah.
WrestleMania?
She wanted a kid, didn't she?
I don't care what it was. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
Ridiculous.
just to let you know, the first 4 matches on this pay-per-view were 34 minutes long. And then I think the longest match was 14 minutes, and I bet your mankind wish that he would have got his one in the next match.
Well, oh, by the way, just in case anybody was wondering, Tori came out and hit Luna Vachon, and that way Sable ended up winning.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, great
No
one.
one cares.
Great
Yeah.
one. But we're going to go from the disastrous to the phenomenal.
Car crash.
Excuse me?
Oh,
You really think that Rock versus Mankind was not good?
Oh, it was good, yeah. But you know what ruins it for me is now is I've seen Beyond the Mat.
Take it okay, take it out
And
of the
I
equation.
am so
Yeah.
I'm so hard to kind of enjoy that the same way I did back then.
Why he invited his family to this match, I don't know.
God knows,
Um,
mate.
I don't know. What got me was love The Rock. Okay, we love The Rock here, but with his chair shots, he did not give a crap. But he's the first one to put his hand up
Yeah.
whenever he's getting a chair shot. You ever notice that? He
Yep.
will swing with all his might. He did a chair shot to the back of Mick's head that probably, I don't think that's the one that split him open, but how do you shield yourself from that while walking?
I know. But see the ones where he had his hands handcuffed behind his was bang, do you know what I mean?
That's when it happened too.
Yeah.
As they're walking down the ramp, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. You even
But
heard it in the crowd.
the thing is though as well is I'm not being funny or not, but is it that The Rock's stupid or is he just safe? It's like people turn around to go on about The Miz modern day. I'm not saying, don't be wrong, I'm not comparing The Miz and The Rock. Obviously, it's two different demographics and two different stars, but it's like The Miz has always been moaned at for being a safe worker and not taking bumps. But at the end of the day, he's made the same money and had a better career than most of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like when you see somebody like a Bubba Ray Dudley, they'll go, "Oh, we're back in the day, we were men, we took a bum, we worked stiff," and it's like, okay, well that's fine, but you know, at the end of the day, the Miz is doing much better than you, and he's got more money, and he's done well, and he's done it without absolutely abusing himself. So
Hey, man.
you
Yeah.
know,
Good
what's
for
wrong with that?
Good for Bubba Ray wearing a tank top on TNA.
He's an absolute,
It's it's
absolute
it's great that
horrible.
30,000 plus fans watch you every week. Good job.
Yeah, he's a scruffy, absolute. He's a horrible
Granted,
human being.
we would love those views. I have no problem with saying that. I have no shame in saying that. But we're not going to sit here and say, "Oh man, men were men with this." You know, we're not going to talk down other podcasts because of
No,
that.
no.
You know, we're not going to punch down on other podcasters that think that they're so elite and cool. We're sitting
Mm,
here, you and I are enthusiasts watching this, and we enjoy what we watch. Okay. So when you and I watch this I Quit match, we're going to shield our eyes sometimes because we know the repercussions that he's going to have later on in life, what it's going to do to his family. All right. His daughter, that's what, 8 at the time, 6, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Ridiculous.
that's it.
It was
Right.
great.
Oh,
Great match, though.
it
Great.
was a great match from start. So there was a bit where obviously The Rock goes absolutely gung ho, and he's just absolutely pelting him, which I just didn't, I didn't agree with very much. And then obviously the end of the match comes when Mankind quits, but he doesn't actually quit, does he? Then
What a great out. It's
Mm.
genius when they just play back exactly what he said on Heat. I guess that was Heat at the time, or like from a few weeks ago, or Monday Night Raw. And what an out. What an
Yeah.
absolute great way to kill it, because that was a great out there. But you got to do kudos to Cole for putting this over. Remember, Ross wasn't back yet, so they had Michael Cole announcing that.
Yeah, was that when Jim Ross had the first bout of Bell's palsy, was it?
I believe so, yes.
But also what was kind of funny to see was Francois.
Francois.
It is Francois, isn't it? The old fella who used to do all the adjustments for them in the back when he comes running out.
Oh, yeah. Not Payday Pat. Who's the other one?
It is Francois, isn't it?
I think, yeah.
In the pink shirt. So, just in case anybody doesn't know, Francois was a guy who back in the day was like a bit of a chiropractor or a massager. And for whatever reason, Vince used to use him like a proper doctor. He'd get involved in storylines, but genuinely backstage, he would be the one that assessed people, even though he was just like a masseuse, really.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
It's crazy.
Which makes sense. Payday
At
right
least-
there. As soon as you appear on television, you end up, I think you get some sort of paycheck from that, right? Like a couple hundred, something like that. So Andy,
Francois Petit was his name.
is that kayfabe?
What's that?
That kayfabe?
No, that was his actual name, and he actually he was in one film before he became the head doctor of WWE, even though he wasn't a real doctor. But guess who he played in the movies?
Sub-Zero.
He played Sub-Zero in the original thingy.
Look, I'll tell you what, man. This guy, I remember the one thing I saw years ago, True Life on MTV. They followed around a few people in wrestling. I wanted to be a pro wrestler. Okay. And two of the people that they followed were China and Triple H. So Triple H is laying on the ground on his stomach, and this guy is adjusting his neck. Francois is adjusting his neck. Andy, he put his feet on a wall to crack Triple H's neck with his hands.
Yeah.
Think of the leverage there. I'm like, what? Oh, God. But it looks so good.
I don't know, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But anyway, back to the pay-per-view. So we get Mick Foley turns around and quits All Mankind, which was recorded that we found out going forward. But also one thing that was really visually is, as we always know, Mick Foley does not want to be carried out. Never wanted to be carried out. He always wanted to walk out the arena. And he's on the stretcher, and The Rock's doing his best. I thought The Rock was cool here because I think he realised what had happened, and he started to try and buy time and keep the focus on him while Foley got the help he needed, which is great. But then as Foley stands up, the blood just go whew. It wasn't like a dribble, it literally just like raining onto the stretcher. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Beyond the Mad will show footage of him getting sewn up backstage, and
Yeah.
even his daughter coming up to him and be like, "Oh, that's all fake, right?" And he's like, "Kind of."
Yeah. If you want to see it, but do you know what's probably a good point, guys? If you want to see a different perspective of this match, then go and watch Beyond the Mat first, and then go back and watch this, because it'll give you a totally different perspective on like what happens. You know what I mean?
If you're not watching it just for this match, you could watch it for Dennis Stamp on a trampoline saying how he's not booked, which is probably one of the greatest pieces of documentary footage. Anyway, we go into the main event here, Andy, and number one will be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but Commissioner Shawn Michaels at the time, and I'd like to point this out real quick here after I said this. Commissioner Shawn Michaels is saying that, look, you know what, Vince, you're number two on here. Vince McMahon must love Shawn Michaels because the fact that Shawn stayed true to WWE, never went to WCW.
No.
All of his friends were there. Why the hell not? Look at this. I mean, you want to call about a loyal soldier who probably booked a lot of last night's pay-per-view too.
Yeah.
This is what Shawn Michaels is about. Say what you want about who the hell he was. This is what it was about.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. So number 1 and 2.
Number 1 and 2 was McMahon and Austin.
Yeah. Then now keep in mind there's $100,000 bounty on Austin. Nice payday there.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3, Golga, aka John Tetna, aka who is it?
Earthquake.
Yeah. Number 4, Draws. Now Draws enters as he's in the middle of the ring, empty ring, because Austin and McMahon go up, they fight, they go to the woman's bathroom where the rest of the corporation is there, ready to ambush Austin, which they do, and he ends up getting taken out and taken off by a stretcher. We'll talk about cool cinematography at that point later on in the future, about how well they do this. We'll talk about it in a few moments. From there, we got Edge coming in, rookie Edge, hyped up. Then yesterday came out, 25 years later, still looks fantastic because that's what he is, one of the best ever. I'll put it out there, ever. Then number 6, Gilbert. What a wonderful hot spot there.
Love Gilbert.
Yep. Number 7, the Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman. Number 8, Dan Severn. Number 9, Tiger Ali Singh. Whoa, boy. What a gooker. Number 10, the Blue Meanie. All right. Any thoughts on those entrants there?
I remember Tiger Ali Singh hated him. Dan Severn, again, just was so boring and bland.
You think they could have built for something there with him?
No, I just don't think he had it. And I think just because you're a fighter doesn't mean that you can actually do well in these things, and that's where I think Shamrock proved that. It's like you can do well if you've got the other side of it, and he didn't.
Do you believe that they were trying to make a UFC match between Severn and Shamrock at the WWE?
Potentially, yeah, probably. But don't forget, around this time or a bit earlier was when Vince McMahon legged the commission, wasn't it? So he probably couldn't have got. He could have got away with it before then, probably.
That's a good point. I think
Mm,
that would have been money, though. Could you
yeah,
imagine if they did that and then maybe a couple other undercard people in there?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it would have
Just to
been a
go
good one.
really quickly, do you have that slap? Do you have that slap fight thing going on in your
Yeah, I've seen it.
on TV?
Not a fan.
I hope that people stop watching immediately.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
people that
I turned on,
disgusting,
turned off.
disgusting, disgusting.
Mm,
If for people to sit there and be like, "Hey, let's watch people get CTE,"
yeah.
idiots.
I tell you what, as well, Droz was really good. I feel really sad that that guy never got what what happened to him, because I think he would have went really far once he found the right way for him.
Dude had a look, man, and then
Yeah,
ended up, he was dubbed into the LOD at that point too.
yeah, yeah.
All right, onward with the next with 11 through 20, my friend.
All right. Well, on 11 through 20, we've got Mabel comes in at the time. Just a little shout out to King Mo. I know he's very sick at the moment, so hopefully he gets better.
Sir Mo.
Yeah, Sir Mo, he's been really sick.
He's our king, though. We love
Yeah,
him
yeah.
too.
He's a king now that he's sick, bless him.
I'll
But he is
bypass
really,
singing. I'll bypass singing their entrance theme this week.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he is really sick, so hopefully he gets better. Road Dogg was number 12, Grangel 13. Number 14 was Kurgan. I always like Kurgan. 15, Al Snow. 16, Goldust. 17, The Godfather. Kane was number 18. 19, Ken Shamrock. And 20, Billy Gunn.
A lot of double duty here today. All right.
Oh,
And then you have the crowd bopping away again for Gangrel's team. Like I said, pay attention. The signs of people saying so and so is gay is out there, so that's not really in good taste.
no.
Mabel ends up getting abducted by the ministry at that point, and he's thrown over the ring by the acolytes in Midian. All right, and then Undertaker comes out, whispers something to him, probably something like, "Hey, we need you in catering because there's good food out there." So then they beat Mabel back there. They bring him to a hearse. We'll talk about that in a second. Kane is forced into the corporation, and the straight coats end up coming. Was that what they called them there? No, the straight
Yeah,
jackets come.
straight jackets, yeah.
And because they say, Kane, Vince says, "Look, Kane, we'll throw you in the mental institution if you don't follow our rules," which I kind of like. I
Yeah,
think that's kind of like a good, like, hey, you know what? I'm the owner of the company. You don't need to be here. I can
yeah.
I can do what I want.
That's it. And he eliminated himself, Kane. So
Guy was an animal, huh?
that's it. Well, 21 to 30, we had Test, Big Boss Man, Triple H number 23, Val Venus 24, Xbox 25, Sexual Big Choc 26, Jeff Jarrett 27, 28 D'Lo Brown, 29 Owen Hart, and number 30 was Chief Click Dick herself, China.
Yeah, remember China won a battle royal to get in there, and she lasted
The,
all of 30
uh,
seconds. And
the corporate battle royal.
oh yeah, that's right. And then it was the first woman to enter the Royal Rumble, and it was such a terrible thing because she lasted 30 seconds. Austin didn't give a damn because that was his character at that point. Shout out to Owen Hart coming out there, gets a good pop. Owen got a good pop, man.
He says,
This would be his last Royal Rumble. He's just one of those solid workers there. Not really a huge ceremonious elimination, but you would hear Vince on commentary talking about
yeah,
come on, Owen, do it. Let's talk about this for a second. Picture goes out. It says they're taking Mabel into a hearse. They're in the back. Then all of a sudden, you see an ambulance pull back up during that same time. And that's when Austin comes out. Yep. Austin comes back out. Fantastic stuff there. So what did you think as far as what's going on with the Final Four there? Because you got
Um,
Austin.
I liked it. I liked it, and I liked it. To be fair, one thing I was thinking about before, and I actually wrote a little note down on this, was over the time from Austin. Austin had won the Rumble quite a lot since '96, hadn't he? He was on his way up. He was going. Sorry, '97 was his first one. Was it? Was '96? I can't remember. It's
Mm-hmm.
'96, wasn't it?
97.
Yeah. So he'd won the last two. You couldn't really have him winning another one. He was red hot here, but at the same time, you still have to make sure that he doesn't get overbearing because otherwise, like what I call the Cena effect, because that's what happened with Cena.
Yeah.
And I think between like '97 and like 2001, WWE done an amazing job of keeping Austin fresh. And considering how red hot he was, that was hard, but they done a really good job.
Agreed. And it's actually going to be difficult from the rest of social media out there. It's hard to keep these guys fresh because
Yeah.
you need to constantly keep pumping things. They're doing good things with storylines, and it's not overexposing the business or not overexposing anybody. Think Roman Reigns is tweeting about himself all the time?
Yeah. No.
This is how you keep people fresh, and they're doing that. They're doing a great job with that.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
It's never going to be where it was. We understand that. But you could damn well try. And they're kind of doing that now. And I appreciate that as a wrestling fan and an enthusiast of it. Nobody saw, I mean, you saw The Rock coming out and starting crap with Austin, and you just saw, oh my God, like Vince McMahon's going to win this. And win it, he did. And you had such a celebration in the ring. So that training helped.
See Vince, Shane McMahon, you going to WrestleMania? Whoa! Vince McMahon's really crying. It was brilliant, brilliantly done.
Was it the first point at the sign moment?
I think just the whole thing is like, sometimes an owner could book himself wherever he wanted and stuff like that. But one thing you've always got to say about Vince is whenever he booked Vince, he always booked himself in the right position at the right time.
Dude got nuclear heat from it.
Mm.
And you'll see it like, let's say, what's your favorite McMahon match? Vince McMahon match?
I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Off the top of my head, I'm saying him versus Shane at WrestleMania. Because it was hilarious. He booked it. That was booked so well that his catatonic wife sat up out of a chair and got one of the biggest pops at WrestleMania. That's called strategic storytelling.
Yeah. And he was always very good at that, Vince, do you know what I mean? You can never, ever knock it back, the fact that, like, how good he was, and he never, ever booked himself just for his own pleasure. He always done it for, I mean, maybe with some of the girls over the time, but the actual, like, big-time storylines, and, like, you tell me there, would that have been any better if Austin had won it?
No, and it wouldn't be necessary. He's going to win it in 2001 as well. So that's what, 3 Royal Rumbles that he technically won at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really need to do that. I mean, that's storytelling right there. And that's the way you punctuate and end the Attitude Era with that. Maybe we'll get into that WrestleMania, but yeah, you could tell Vince is definitely running things maybe again now. Rhea, take her over with the leg scissor.
Well, on that bombshell, we're going to wrap it up for the day, guys. So thank you so much for watching, as always.
Before we go, my friend, what's for next week, my friend? Just so the fans know.
It's your turn this week, isn't it?
I picked 99. It's yours. It's yours. Going into February.
Isn't it? Yeah. Okay, February. Let me think.
If you got to think about it, you got to think about it. I get it, because this is a weird one.
Do you know what? We're going to go for a bit of a weird one next week. St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Let's start February off with a bang.
So we're doing sequence there, huh? So we're doing Oh, this will actually be the pay-per-view after this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Cool. Let's go into it, man.
Yeah, let's do it for once.
Yep. If you want to talk about it, if you look it up, just make sure you look up St. Valentine's Day Massacre WWF, because you're going to then you're going to be looking into an actual, an event that wasn't really a good thing that happened.
No, it wasn't at all. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. We're trying a little bit something different this week. We've only gone 40 minutes trying a new format. Seemed to work well on one of the other episodes. We've done quite well. But let us know what you think about the timing on our episodes and whether you like the hour slot, you like the 40-minute slot. Give us an idea of what you like and what you think works in the comment section. Obviously we always like the feedback and we like to just make sure we're trying to get things as kind of well as what we can. But from me and from Dale, until next time, guys, take care and we will see you soon. Enjoy the Royal Rumble.